Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to the Muslim Game Changers podcast, where we bring you inspiring stories from the best and brightest of the Muslim world. I'm your Hussein, and I'm very excited to take you on a journey of discovery featuring high-profile Muslim leaders from all around the globe. Welcome back to the Muslim Game Changers podcast. Today, we are thrilled to introduce our exceptional guest, Hakan Besler, who brings a wealth of experience and knowledge to our show. With over 25 years of expertise in the banking industry, Hakan has achieved remarkable success. What truly sets him apart is his unique commitment to ensuring the happiness of each and every one of his clients. And here's the fun twist about Hakan. He also finds joy in exploring the breathtaking Alps on his motorbike, embarking on exciting travels, and indulging in delicious food adventures. We're excited to have him on the show today and to share his insights with our listeners, with our brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum, Hakan. How are you doing today?
Wa alaikum salam, Shaheen. Doing all right, thank you. No complaints so far. What about you?
I'm good. Alhamdulillah. And I'm so happy to be discussing with you. You're someone who's so comfortable talking. It's so good to talk to you. And I feel that I already know you since a long time. So it's so good to have this conversation. Hakan, let's begin by the very basics. Can you share with us where were you born? And also maybe your ethnicity so that maybe people in the audience, our brothers and sisters, might relate to some ethnicity of yours. And if you can share this, it would be amazing.
Of course, I was born and grew up in Zurich, Switzerland. I'm already the third generation. I'm originally from Turkey.
I knew you would say this, and shout out to all my Turkish brothers and sisters, especially I have a lot of best friends which are from Turkey. Beautiful. First of all, what has been your experience living in Switzerland as a person, because we all ignore what it's like living in Switzerland, but also in particular, living as a Muslim in Switzerland. I don't even know if there are mosques in Zurich. So it's really gonna be a surprise for me. So if you could share this, would be amazing.
Of course. Let me start with the first question. In general, living in Switzerland is beautiful. I have to say, be it the people, be it the scenery, whatever you want, it's beautiful. And living as a Muslim is actually not a problem at all, in my opinion. You of course have mosques, and the beauty here is you have mosques from the Turkish community, from the Arab community, from the Albanian community, whatever you like actually, and you can visit each and every.
This is amazing because I didn't know that there were a lot of Turkish in Zurich. I knew that there were Albanians a lot in Switzerland.
Yeah.
But you were saying to me that there are a lot of there's a huge community, and so there's an important community of Turkish people, alhamdulillah, in Switzerland.
There is, yeah. It's no longer the biggest. It's no longer one of the biggest, if you want so, but still considerable.
I understand. So my very first question is that, as everyone, I always ask this question: how do you balance your professional career, which might be extremely busy? I know there's a lot of pressure in banking. How do you balance your professional career with your faith, Islam, but also your personal life? Because I believe you are a father. So basically, how do you balance all three of them? Is it maybe sometimes very hard to keep up? You've got all the prayers to catch up upon. So do you find the way to balance with all of these three words?
Alhamdulillah, I try to do the best, if you want so. Yes, the job itself is extremely challenging. It takes each and every focus from you, if you want so. And then, as you rightly said, yes, I'm a father of two boys, keeping me extremely busy. So that's already 200%. And of course, you need time for the prayers. You need time for the faith. I have to say, here in Switzerland, the company I work for, they are quite liberal. So I have a prayer room for myself. I can take
No way.
Yes, 5-10 minutes for the break and do my prayers. That's not an issue. It works, not always, but it works. That's the beauty I have. Alhamdulillah.
This is amazing. Honestly, I didn't know about Switzerland, and I think my fellow brothers from Switzerland, but which are in the French part of Switzerland, near Geneva, I think they're going to be very surprised to hear that there is a prayer room. So here, I don't know if you have ever been to Germany or if you go often to Germany, because I know that there's a huge community, maybe the biggest in Europe, or all the audience which might not know Europe a lot. The biggest community outside of Turkey as mostly in Germany, like their network, how people have been successful in Germany among the Turkish people. It's inspiring. So I just wanted to know if maybe sometimes you go to Germany, if maybe you could compare a bit with the German part of Switzerland, which is Zurich, and Germany. So I don't know. I'm trying to anticipate if you have been to Germany.
Yes, Germany is close by. I mean, the border is half an hour drive by car. So I go that very often. I even go there on the weekends just to do the grocery, to shop, because the prices are extremely different. And yes, I've visited also some cities, like the major cities in Germany. And yes, the Turkish community is huge. That's a fact. The thing is, the Germany is huge, but the Turkish community is concentrated. In one part of the city, you have the Turkish community, and they're concentrated. These you don't have in Switzerland. In Switzerland, it's completely mixed.
And this, I think, is prettier. I prefer, I don't know what's your opinion on this, but me, I prefer when it's, everyone's melted within each other. It's very good for the kids to learn about, I don't know, some Somalian guy, then some Swiss guy, some Spanish guy. I believe Zurich is very international, no?
It is, yeah. Not as much as Geneva. And Geneva has the United Nations, I think. So it's more multinational. But Zurich, of course, it is as well. I have to say, for me, it's better to have this mixture, because then you walk around, you see different people from different cultures, different faiths.
I see. Zurich is not a regular place where people go. It's extremely competitive. People are being attracted to Zurich, but to get a chance to Zurich, it's very hard. So I just wanted for you to say, how is it living in Zurich? How would you describe to our brothers and sisters, how is life like?
I give you a view of expats, which I meet from time to time. Zurich is one of the most clean cities, I would say, even worldwide. It is super clean. You have clear rules and everyone follow the rules. So it's really easygoing. It is really a place to live, because the food quality is extremely high. You have a lot of diversification. You can find each and everything. The interaction with Swiss people is a bit difficult as a newcomer, because you first start as a foreigner and they are not so open, if you want so. Not at the beginning. They need to know you a bit. It takes a bit time. It's not like in other countries you come and you are buddies from day one. That doesn't work. But alhamdulillah, I cannot complain. I'm happy to be here. I take each and every chance this city or this country gives me.
I understand. A last question about Germany is it true that like the German from Germany is very different from like the German from I know that even in Germany they speak different types of German. There is Hochdeutsch and there are other types of Dutch. I just wanted to know if you can understand perfectly German from Germany.
I can perfectly understand. They cannot.
Oh, that's a fair advantage.
Yes, it is. I mean, in the southern part, like Stuttgart, which is close by, they do, not everything, but they do. The more north you go in Germany, they don't know anything. They look to me like, can you please speak German, even if I speak German? So we have a dialect in Switzerland, and it's not Hochdeutsch, as you said. It's Swiss German, and even if it's like the same language, it sounds completely different.
Okay, sehr gut. Hakan, you're from Turkey. I'm obliged to ask a few questions about Turkey, because for me, one of the most beautiful countries in the Ummah, it's Turkey. So I just wanted to know, where are your grandparents? Where are they from in Turkey? Where is your family in Turkey? Can you tell us a bit about your hometown there?
With pleasure. I'm from the south part of Turkey, from a city called Adana, which is, I think, famous for its kebab and other foods.
Yeah.
Extremely hot in summer. I would say hotter than any other Saharan country, but beautiful. Worth to visit.
Very good. And thank you so much for sharing this with you, Hakan. I really appreciate it. First of all, as you know, this podcast is all about inspiring our younger brothers and sisters, but also active professionals who might think they're at the beginning of their career. I know one of my friends, which I went into high school with, his dream is like to be a banker in Switzerland. I don't know if you know how much we can inspire the world, not only in France, Germany, but way further. We rewind time a bit to the 18-year-old version of Hakan and tell us from then, what have you done in terms of studies, the professional journey? Have you done any internships to start? How were your first steps? Can you tell us about the very beginning? It's your moment, Hakan.
Thank you, Shaheen. Look, this is a bit difficult to explain in a sense of, we have the apprenticeship system in Switzerland. So you start working with 15, 16.
At 15, 16 years old?
16, Yes, exactly. So you do 9 years of school and then you either study further or you can apply for a job, which is a 3 or 4 years apprenticeship. And I always wanted to work with an international brand. I always wanted to work with a huge company where I have international clients because, as I said in the beginning, I mean, it's really beautiful to see the other cultures, the other people around you, how they do things, how they eat things, how they cook things, you name it. And this is how I applied for an apprenticeship at Credit Suisse, which is no longer existing, but back then it was. And there you slowly grew. You know, there are so many departments in this bank, and you focus on something. What can I do best? What gives me joy? What gives me pleasure? And I soon realized speaking to clients from anywhere in the world is my great passion. So I invested in this and I slowly build up from there. This is how my story started, actually.
Very good. And Hakan, what inspired you? You had a lot of options in Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken. There's the pharmaceutical companies, there is the clock industry, and there is the banking sector. What attracted you as a Swiss person towards the banking sector?
I mean, a couple of things. First of all, the banking sector is placed in Zurich, so it was more or less easy. The pharmaceutical is in another city. The watch companies are in another part of Switzerland. In Zurich, you have a main focus on insurance and banks, and this is how I started. I really wanted to work with figures, and this is the banking sector which gives you that, actually. So for me, it was a clear focus.
Yeah, okay, I understand. I think in Luxembourg, they have the same type of options. They tell themselves
Yeah.
it's the banking sector, financial sector. We've got to go there if we want to make a living in Luxembourg. And I believe Zurich, Hakan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the highest cost of living on earth. Yeah.
It's in the top three, I think.
Oh my God. You cannot be a baker in Zurich. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it would be hard to keep up. Hakan, thank you so much. And I wanted to know how you envisioned Credit Suisse when you started before the apprenticeship and how it actually was. A lot of departments, maybe a bit of pressure at the beginning. Can you tell us how it was before you went in there and how you envisioned it? Sometimes we have high expectations and then we get disappointments, but it can be the other way around.
No, it wasn't easy at all. I mean, the focus was on the major banks in Zurich. Back then, I mean, we speak exactly 25 years ago, more or less. You had plenty of banks and you applied for each and every. Some of them, they just ignore you if you want so. Some of them, you don't get a reply, but you get a no. And then you keep on applying for jobs with each and every bank. And Credit Suisse was the only one who invited me for an interview. And I knew that this is the one-time chance, actually. So you either make it or you fail, and then it's over. Then you even don't start your dream. So this was exciting time, but also a lot of pressure. But with the right mindset, with the right preparation, alhamdulillah, I made it.
Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy for you. A lot of people are really turned towards Switzerland, whatever the company, or turns into banking, whatever the country. So if you had any advice that you would have liked to receive the advice younger to go into banking, what advice would you give that person for the banking sector, but also Switzerland in general, to go in Switzerland?
I mean, if you have a dream, you have to dream big. But if you do the dream, then you have to work, I would say, extremely hard for it. If you decide to come to Switzerland, which is, by the way, not in the European Union, so you don't get in so easily, but you have to find something which makes you precious. And I'm sure each and everyone has something which is precious. They can do something which is precious. So you work on that build and then you come here or you apply here in Switzerland and say, this is something I can give you. What can you offer me? And I'm sure each and every can make it if they stay focused and like find the niche. I give an example. If you want to become a banker in Switzerland, and there are thousands here, what makes you precious? It can be, for example, Islamic banking, super special, super exciting. But no one has a knowledge here. You have a handful of people.
Mhm.
So maybe you focus there. Or you have wealthy people around you. I'm not sure how easy that is. You build in there and you become their relationship manager. So there are a couple of things, but it's not simply saying, I want to go to Switzerland and you make it. It's, I want to go to Switzerland. Yes, but you need to give something for it.
I think it's also about consistency, and you can fail 99 times, but it's like being a salesman. You know, for instance, you're in banking, you have a lot of, and I will talk about this afterwards, just afterwards, about the client's relationships. You know, you're going to fail 99 times in sales, but the 100th time, you've got to have the same energy as the first when you contacted someone. It's also about hard work, but also consistency in your efforts, not giving up as soon as you get received. So I just wanted to say this. And I wanted to ask Hakan, Because I think you are very passionate about your job. What makes a great banker? How would you tell, okay, this guy is a great banker?
In the function I have, it's 50% of your job is, how do you say, passion or consistency. You don't have to be a very knowledgeable person because there are people around you who know more. That's a fact.
Mhm.
There are people around me who know more than I do. But if you speak to other person, it's like how you speak to them, how you treat them. Do they like you? Do you like them? It's more on a personal level. And for me to be like professional banker, it's really to be resilient. You are on time. Whenever there is something, you're never late. You always smile. You always, keep your blood pressure at a low level. It's not easy, but this will give, this comes with time actually.
Hakan makes me laugh. We can tell he's a Swiss because he has this obsession with time. He already talks about time, and the Germans are a bit close to this idea. Hakan, it's a lot of relationship type of aspect of it in a banking system. What kind of relationships you build with clients? And I wanted to know if you have any anecdotes to share with us about, I don't know, some clients you had and about the relationships you have with your clients. I'm sure in all those years of experience in banking, you are such an experienced professional. You've got something to share with us.
I worked with a lot of international clients, be it in the UK, Ireland, be it as it is now for the Middle Eastern clients, and they are all extremely different. When it comes to money, everyone is different in a good or bad way. So, what I can share here is a story we had with a client of mine who came over with actually a very sad story. Family members who passed away, and they were like, I'm here in Zurich, I'm alone, I have no more family members, but I somehow found a note that there is a bank account in Switzerland. Can you help me? And usually we have the banking secrecy actually. You cannot say anything. You cannot help. But it was a lady and she was so desperate. I said, I need to help somehow. I need to do something. And I promised her because she flew in and asked me these questions. She wanted to see me because there was a note with my name. So she found me. She came over. I said, okay, you know what? I don't know what this note is, but I tried to help you. So we did a lot of investigation. I asked managers, I asked legal people and said like, look, there must be something we can give to this lady. And guess what? We found an account which was in a complete different name. It was a company account basically, but you don't have a hint that this account belongs to this person. So I called the lady and said, look, we found something. You have to come over to Zurich again. We have to discuss. So she came and said, what is it? Is it something good? I said, yeah, look, let's discuss. And we discovered there were a substantial amount of cash on the account. We also found a note on the account, which the husband initially did before he passed away. He said, like, whenever something happens to me, please give this to my wife. And this lady was in front of me, crying, hugging me, and said, I knew there was something. And thank you so much for helping me. And these are moments which makes you satisfied. Of course, I work in the banking sector, so we all speak about money. If I would do something else in another sector, I would have shared that. But since we work with money only, this is my daily talk. Extremely beautiful to see like how happy she was and said, you know what, you saved my pensions. I can pay my mortgage off. Very good news. Thank you so much. And this smile, this thankfulness of this lady proved again I'm in the right sector, in the right job.
This is when you can tell you're passionate. It's very good. Thank you for sharing this anecdote, Hakan. I really appreciate it. In the banking sector, there are lots of things moving all the time. You see it with the central banks, which do a lot of things to raise point base. There's the inflation going on with everything that's happening in Ukraine, etc. But basically, with everything going on, the banking sector is moving swiftly. You have very busy life. You have a family. A family is a huge investment of time. I just wanted to know if you have the time to actually learn things aside of your job, your family. Do you find time to keep on learning things about your sector, your banking sector?
Unfortunately, I have to say no to this. You don't find time too much to further grow or to further learn something. Only like tiny little things. So whatever you learn, and this is something I can say to the audience, the earlier you learn, the better it is. The older you get, you don't find time and you are no longer capable. Well, I have to speak for myself. You're no longer capable to learn easily. So I can only read daily whatever is in the news and make a picture and that's it. But to learn something becomes extremely difficult.
I would say also to the audience, and I appreciate your honesty and your modesty also. Modesty is something I noticed within you, Hakan, straight away. I really appreciate that. It's such a huge quality you have. And basically, I just wanted to say that it's also about the knowledge you get at work. And this is the most valuable. You know, you learn by experience and everything. Sometimes you learn a lot of things in school. And I think maybe some people might relate to what I'm saying. You know, a lot of things in school, in business school, engineering school, all those fancy schools. But then at the end of the day, in your work, you do things which are completely different. You know, some youngsters, they arrive and they think they're going to kill it, etc. But at the end of the day, they really rapidly realized that actually they don't know anything about the job. So I think what you should never underestimate is that the huge experience you have acquired, you are learning every day so much through the most valuable asset, which is the experience you get at work facing clients. So honestly, this just shows the modesty of your heart, Hakan. I just wanted to say this.
Thank you. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
I wanted to know some of the important qualities which Credit Suisse or the banking sector in Zurich is looking for in candidates. What are the most important qualities which you think make the difference when we hire bankers?
Beside the education you bring, because the education is something that most of the people have, and yeah, of course it's important, but I look more, do you fit in your job? Do you have the correct mindset? Because it stands and falls with your mindset. You can be a Harvard student, but if you cannot speak like freely and clearly to people, then you're not in the right job. So I really look how your heart ticks, if you want. So how you are as a person, this is much more important than any education. Because education, it goes without saying, you need it. It doesn't go without education.
This is very true. I wanted to know if you could describe the main things you do at work. And maybe, for instance, if it talks more to you, maybe a typical week, whatever you choose, maybe the most frequent missions you have at work, otherwise a typical week. Either of them is good. So that just people might understand better, your job and can have an idea of what it is like to actually be a banker.
Now I have to disclaim here that there are many jobs in the banking sector. So I give you my example, what I do. I would say a typical week is talking to clients from the morning to whenever the last client called, which is basically very late. And they have needs. You need to pay their credit card. They want to have an idea about Apple shares. So you give you an advice on Apple shares. They want to say, I go on holidays to the US. Shall I buy dollars now or later? So you give an advice. And this is all by phone, actually. This is like the existing client book you have. And then, of course, you need new clients. So you want to grow. And this you only can do if you go to the region, wherever you work, for any market, and you try to acquire clients. But this is a job for itself. Acquiring clients, it's extremely difficult and it takes a lot of time. But in general, when I sit at my desk, the things I do is really advising on investments, helping them out with whatever they need with money related things. This is, I would say, a typical week, which sounds boring, but for me, it's super interesting.
No, it sounds interesting to me also, Hakan. My friend is a banker at BNP. It's the bank of the French bank. He has a lot of pressure, to sell, for instance, banking type of products. Always has to deliver. And
Yeah.
he gets paid very well, but I can see that it's taking a toll on him. And I just wanted to know if you can relate to this. Do you think that there is pressure as a banker in Credit Suisse? I have the impression it is everywhere. I just wanted to know if you could talk more about this pressure as a banker in Credit Suisse.
Definitely, yes. I think not only in my company, I think in each and every bank, you have the pressure because, again, you want to grow, you want to earn money. And this is the way we earn money. We have to sell products, we have to get new clients. You have your goals per year where it says, so you have a book of XY millions with all clients, and from this you need to earn XY thousand, and this is your goal each year. So you fail to get this goal for once, you fail twice, you fail the third time, but then you're out. So the pressure is here because the bank says, look, we hired you, we pay you well, as you said, we want something from you, so you have to bring the revenues. That's clear, and this is the pressure I have. Yes. Does it work? Alhamdulillah, until now it works. But yes, the pressure definitely is here, and you have to manage it well, which brings me again to your attitude. With the wrong attitude, it's not doable.
Would you say that the management in Switzerland, some people say, about in Switzerland, you have to demonstrate modesty. For instance, when you're in an interview, etc., they pay careful attention to this. Would you say that, for instance, it's very hierarchical? Like, for instance, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but like basic hierarchy. I know that, for instance, in France, it's a lot of hierarchy top down. Or would you say that it's more collaborative between everyone in the team, whatever their hierarchy? It's very easy. Do you find it easy to talk to people which are at huge positions very, very quickly at the bank? You can talk at everyone at the office.
Good question. I would say yes. My personal opinion, yes. The smaller the company is, even easier it gets. The Swiss people here are more relaxed on things. They are not like, I am the CEO of something and you cannot speak to me. I never spoke to a CEO of my company because I don't see them. But in general, the management is close. You can easily speak to them. That works, actually. That's my personal opinion. There's no big hierarchy on this.
Oh, that's very good. I know, for instance, having Ramadan in France is not very good. It's the complete different experience from having it in the UK, where they're very open to Muslims, for instance. And I just wanted to know, during the last Ramadan, how was it with your work? Did you adjust your work week? How were you handling this period to go through the whole month of Ramadan? Did Credit Suisse support you in any regards? Please tell us like how it went Ramadan for you, Hakan.
Alhamdulillah, it went very well. The company and also Swiss people, they ask each and every year the same question, like, oh, it's Ramadan again. You can really not drink, really not chewing gum, really not this. It's always the same question, but it is respected. So I always say I prepare the people if you want. For me, I cannot adjust working times because it's anyway.
Oh, you cannot. Okay, see.
Well, there is no need. Let's put it that
Because it's the client.
that yeah, it is, but there is no need for it. Since in Switzerland you fast like 14, if I'm not mistaken, 14 to 16 hours.
It's huge.
It is, yeah. I think it's the same in France. No, it's very long.
I don't even know the duration. I never actually calculated.
It's extremely long. If I'm not mistaken, it's around 16 hours.
Uh-huh.
So I don't have a benefit to shorten the day. Of course, you can get some rest. But since in the office, for me, it's a peaceful environment. I can use the breaks, to calm down a bit. So I can do my prayers properly. I can use the lunchtime for breaks or whatsoever. It works very well.
It's very good. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, truly. Do you see, we're talking about the Turkish community in Switzerland. I just wanted to know, in Credit Suisse, I just want to see the diversity, if there is any integration of Muslims in Credit Suisse. Do you see colleagues which are Muslims? Do you see a rise in the number of Muslim professionals, whether in banking or other sectors of I don't know, wealth management or anything, but in Credit Suisse, do you see a rise in the number of Muslims? Do you see more Muslims? That's my main question.
I do see Muslims. I would not say they raise.
Oh, I see.
Yes, from the start to now, yes, there is a raise, but not like regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So I cannot say, yes, every 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, there's another Muslim joining the company. But the company itself is fully liberal. Means if you're Muslim, fine. You just need to do the job. If you're whatever, you name it, you just need to do the job. They don't really look for specific ethnies or face or whatsoever.
Yeah, of course. There's this thing which you mentioned before, like Islamic finance, Islamic banking. I know that, for instance, in Malaysia, in Qatar, in the UK, there are lots of finance banks which are Islamic. Maybe, I don't know what you think about this. I think it's going to be more attractive to our community because they feel that they can do a good action. They can at the same time contribute to their community, to their faith. But it's a new thing, and I wanted to know, what was your perspective on this? Do you find this industry promising, or maybe you are a bit skeptical? I know that some people are skeptical. Personally, I like how it's going. So just wanted to know your opinion.
We as a company, we offer Islamic banking. So this should give you already a view how important it is. It's a huge sector and it's interesting. Even the Swiss banks here realized like, oh, this is something we should offer because you have wealthy clients from the Middle East. Exactly. If we want to cover them like professionally and in a good way, we should offer that. And it works. I only hear good news for this. So it's clearly a market.
I understand. There was one question, Hakan, I wanted to ask you. There's this legend of the secrecy of banking. You cannot, there's this assumption that I think, but I just want to make it sure. I think the secrecy of banking is over in Switzerland, but I'm not sure. Is it over?
More or less. It is, you still have a banking secrecy, but not as strict as 15, 20 years ago.
I understand. There's one thing I just wanted to know if you had very inspiring mentors or anything in your life, in your career. Could have been your father, could have been your big brother. I don't know, anyone in your family, your friends. For instance, me, I will just share this with you. Most of my best friends are Turkish. I'm just, because I have a podcast guests which are from Turkey, I see this opportunity. And it's true that some of them are older than me and I looked up to them for performing at school because they inspire me to go to school, go to the mosque. For instance, some of them are involved in Miligorsh, which is an organization which does huge work
Yeah.
in the whole of Europe. Just a little note on this because some people might not know, and maybe Hakan, you can say something you know more than me. Miligorsh is a huge organization which was made by Erbakan at the time and which does a lot of community work for Turkish but also Muslims in general. Basically, it's like the community centers you would find in the US or Canada where the mosque is there. There's a coffee, there's a barber, there's a school, there's Quranic teaching, and they do amazing work, especially in Germany.
Exactly.
As Hakan was saying, Germany is really like where the Turkish community is at its peak in Europe. So it's very inspiring. Hakan, do you want to say something on this, maybe on Miligorsh?
I mean, I was born and grew up almost with Milligarish because the mosque we visit, and there was only one when I was a kid, one Turkish one I have to correct, and it was from Milligarish. So I was almost born and grew up, but I don't have too much details, but they really do a good job. They keep the community together, if you want. So and this is really a good point.
This is what we want in the community. And I think this is the common point which I observe between the Pakistani and Turkish community, which build a lot of incentives to put people together, but of all generations. So for instance, if you would go in Miligorsh in France, I will talk about France, my current country, you will see little kids, more like older kids, but also people like which could be their grandfather. And I found this melting pot absolutely beautiful. There's a separate space for our sisters. So it's very well organized. And for instance, the schools which are doing academic, for instance, high school, secondary school, they're also beginning to be more and more competitive. So inshallah, may Allah facilitate all the work of the Turkish people so that they can go even further in this initiative.
Inshallah.
I just wanted to say this. So basically, Hakan, I go back to my initial question. I'm really sorry for like the little parenthesis.
No problem.
I wanted to know if there was anyone in your family, among your friends, which you were looking up to when you grew up, or maybe still now among your friends, which inspired you maybe to keep on the right path, but also maybe target, those huge companies like Credit Suisse, be there, etc.
In general, I would say my grandfather and father, they are super young. So my grandfather was in his early 40s when I was born. So he became a grandfather at his early 40s. And he was the one who taught me deen. He was the one who taught me like, hey, whatever you do, no matter what, whatever you do, but do it right, do it correct, and try to be the best in everything. So he guided me. My father also gave me guidance, of course. And at some point, I would say when you are in your 20s, and you decide yourself. So after then, I took my own decisions, but the path was clearly given by these two gentlemen.
Very good. May Allah bless them. Thank you so much, Hakan. So Hakan, thank you so much for your time. Honestly, so grateful for your time. And it was so easy to talk to you. I want just to tell this to you as some kind of feedback. I can tell Hakan is used to clients. I can tell this guy has talked to thousands of people in his career because it's so easy to talk to you, very relaxed, very chill. It really seemed like a conversation I had with a friend. So thank you so much, Hakan, for your time, the time you have allotted to this project, and so grateful for sharing your experience, insights, and also your advice for our younger brothers and sisters.
Anytime. The pleasure was absolutely mine. Inshallah, we speak again at another opportunity.
Inshallah, my brother. So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and see you on the next episode. That's all for today's episode, guys. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you have any feedback or suggestion for future episodes, please reach out to us on our social media channels. And don't forget, please, to subscribe, rate, and review our show on your favorite podcast platform. This would really help us a lot. Until next time, well, stay inspired, stay curious, and keep changing the game.